for brands, certainly it's very important to keep in mind that a big part of convenience is how soon, how easily, and how much of the product is going to be made available.
Our quick commerce sales in this year have overtaken our sales on Amazon, and probably in 2 years' time, it will become our number one channel, beyond even bigger than general trade.
Consumers are no longer going to wait for things to come to them in 5 to 7 days, in 10 days, and things like that. That's become reality.
70% of the decisions, purchase decisions at homes, are being made by millennials.
Before you think something is going to be important, your consumers are already giving you the buying signals. It's just that do you have your ears on the ground? Are you listening enough to them? Or are you just blindly, believing in what you think is the right product to sell?
Forbes and DTDC, behind India's D2C revolution.
Welcome to the latest episode of Forbes India and DTDC present Behind India's D2C Revolution. If you're building a brand or thinking about starting one, stay with us. Because by the end of this conversation, you won't just hear how a truly unique brand was built and positioned, you'll understand the decisions and the discipline that it takes to turn a product idea into a business that has lasted in India. So let's continue decoding the real playbook for building and sustaining a consumer brand in India. In every episode, we bring perspectives from founders who are shaping how India consumes, upgrades, and aspires. Joining us again is Abhishek Chakraborty, the CEO of DTDC, whose experience across categories and markets offers a ground-level understanding of how demand and expectations are changing across Bharat. Today, the conversation moves into the heart of the Indian household, the Indian kitchen, and the rise of lifestyle-driven consumption. Joining us is Ravi, the founder and CEO of Wonderchef, a brand that has helped transform everyday cooking into a premium experience while building growth through discipline, profitability, and deep consumer understanding. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today. Lots to uncover on this episode. Let me begin with you then, Abhishek, and just understand, because you've really been in this ecosystem for so long. From your vantage point, with deliveries that are being done nationwide now, what are the signals that are actually telling you that aspiration has reached the market before brands or companies are even realizing it?
See, for us as logistics and supply chain players, when we look at consumption and demand patterns and how the order flows are happening, it's the geographical concentration of those orders that tells us about what people are really looking at. There was a time at which almost every brand, whether it was a offline, online play, or it was a pure D2C brand, they would always go after the big metropolitan cities, make something successful, and then the orders would start flowing into the tier 2 and tier 3 markets. What we are now seeing is that the pace at which the demand is catching up in those places of tier 2, tier 3 rural segments as well is going much faster. It's no longer an effect of imitating or following what's going on in the metropolitans. At times, I'm seeing certain brands and certain categories, in fact, launch first with the tier 2, tier 3 markets. And even when they launch simultaneously, the pace of growth being seen in the rural markets is sometimes even better than the city markets. And that is a big inflection and change point. When consumers across India start demanding differently, it's not just the metropolitans, but also the rural parts. They all seem to be going in a direction. And therefore, the new consumerism of India and Indians is very much out there to be seen. India and Bharat both are now hungry for great products, great services, and are willing to express themselves for it.
Absolutely. And I want to come to you later about how the consumer behavior has changed and the expectations. But let me come to you then, Ravi, because it's so interesting that, you have built a company that is providing so much from, cookware, appliances, now automation. What made you realize that customers were ready to trust a single brand or a single company?
Yeah, Avanne, pleasure to be here. Uh, so when I started Wonderchef, I could observe that the least amount of action in an Indian home is in the kitchen, from the brand side, from the supplier side. There were brands, some mega brands, which had been around for decades, but I felt they were not doing enough to ease the pain of the Indian homemaker. Let me give you an example. You might know the stereotype of the hassled poor Indian woman who is cutting onion and she's crying,
Yeah.
metaphorically, and everybody at home is also crying. Why couldn't there be a chopper? So this for me became an idea that if there is no chopper in Indian home, What else is not there? And I had a lot of experience in Europe. I founded Sodexo in India, which became India's largest catering company. So I had an idea about food, about solutions, about equipment. And I said that what if we could bring that professionalism in the Indian kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
And once that idea came through, I was confident that we can do it the whole hog. There's no stopping that I want to do only cookware or only a mixer or only a toaster or only a
Hmm.
microwave or something. Uh, we have to provide convenience and healthy cooking across board. And that was the idea. From day one, I knew we'll be a multi product company, but focused on kitchen.
Okay, so you had the vision at the start and you were catering to a problem area and a market that was untapped. That's interesting. So, for someone who's watching today, Abhishek, and they're looking to enter the D2C space, what are some of the non negotiables that you think are very important before you're even looking at scale?
I think the first thing, of course, is the product market fit. I think Raviji has very nicely explained in his category how he found that
Yeah.
out and then went after it. But as soon as you've got that sorted out, you've got to keep in mind that the new consumer is very convenience driven. And
Mm.
convenience now has got definitions that go beyond just what the product is, but the whole experience around it. How they're going to get it, where is it going to get sourced from, what are the ingredients, what are the components, and also how the entire journey is going to be presented from them. So I think that's where I'm seeing a lot of change coming in. For brands, certainly it's very important to keep in mind that a big part of convenience is how soon, how easily, and how much of the product is going to be made available.
Mm.
I think the definitions of traditionally receiving product in a certain way has certainly begun to change.
Yes.
People's patience levels are now, almost diametrically opposite to their convenience expectations, and because of that they are asking those tough questions from brands and of course from us as supply chain logistics players to find solutions to that. I think that is going to be very important. Any new brand can no longer say that I'll start slow and then I'll figure it out. I think they've got to almost begin on the level playing field with the other brands who are in that category, because while there is a lot of consumerism and demand, but there's also lack of attention span, and that means when there are multiple players for the same category going after the same consumer, I think he or she is going to look at these aspects when they make their choice. So that's what brands need to keep in mind.
Interesting. The product market, the experience and convenience, and the fact that now that there's a lack of attention span. Would you like to add to that, Ravi, and give us a sense as to what brands really need to do? Because you've clearly come and disrupted a category.
I think a very important thing is differentiation
Okay.
because there's so much available.
Mm.
And earlier, distribution was strength.
Mm.
When we were decades ago, when we were studying in our MBAs, we studied that, Hindustan Lever or ITC, their core competence is their distribution.
Mm.
From every panwala, from every kirane ka dukan, they're distributing. But e-commerce, quick commerce, logistics companies like DTDC, they have flattened that play. So today a new brand can come in with a equally powerful distribution, at least in the digital space, as a Hindustan Levers, for example. So why should I buy you? And that is where I think differentiation counts, innovation counts. One has to at times identify a hidden consumer need that the consumer even does not know that he or she requires. And we as marketeers have to anticipate that and launch products. And we have a litany of products like that, which we have anticipated, we have bet on them, and we have made them successful and created new categories. So
Mm.
I think besides all that was said about convenience and fulfillment, I think a clear idea of differentiation, being able to put that out to the consumer in terms of content, videos, influencing them, sharing with them, demonstrating to them, and having that credibility that what we are promising will actually get delivered with this differentiated new idea.
Differentiation is very critical, as is credibility. Now, Abhishek, like you said, things are changing so rapidly. The consumer, as well, in terms of their patience, or should I say, impatience levels as well, are growing. How has the demand of speed delivery or the definition even changed? Because today we're used to things coming to us in minutes. So, how has it changed? And can you tell me about how DTDC has played a role here?
See, I think you said it. I think the once the advent of quick commerce, or in fact, well before that, the food commerce industry grew and people were getting their food deliveries done in 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I think a generation, especially the new Gen Z driven demand that we see, once they got used to that, I think that became their norm or standard for what they call convenience.
Mm.
I think quick commerce effectively did ride on it and took it to another level. I think the big breakthrough or discovery was that beyond groceries and your regular supplies, which makes sense to probably get in 10 minutes. Now people are saying, why would I not want to get almost anything and everything a lot more faster?
Yeah.
I don't think for every category and every product it is possible to, when you look at the economics of it, to serve it and do it successfully in 10 minutes. But yes, the fact that consumers are no longer going to wait for things to come to them in 5 to 7 days, in 10 days, and things like that, that's become reality. And that's where we invested and created our own capability. We call it DTDC Raftar, which is all about focusing on rapid commerce. Rapid commerce effectively is that sweet spot in between, where today, if a D2C brand like Wonderchef, for example, would work with us, they would be in a position to now use our supply chain and capability to not only provide same day and 2 hour delivery to their urban consumers, but using the same fulfillment center, they would be now able to reach out to the rest of the state, for which the state capital is where their center is, and offer a next day or 2 day guaranteed kind of a service, which otherwise was only possible with the big marketplaces. And we know that marketplaces and the commissions and the advertising fees and various other things that they put it together, while they provide a great service, but it comes at a great cost. And I'd like to add only one more thing. I fully agree with him. Differentiation is absolutely required at the product level, but I believe supply chain can do a lot of differentiation as well. So for one of our ethnic fashion customers that we have in our rapid commerce fulfillment center, so if you are a lady ordering a designer piece which you need for a wedding event, what we would show on the website, the actual stitching of it, the final perfections of it, are done in our fulfillment center. We've got tailors sitting in our fulfillment center who do the tailoring and then ensure in 3 hours time, before your grand evening event for a lovely wedding, you have what you need. Now, this is differentiation, which is no longer left at the brand's level alone. It's brands and logistics players coming together to create this kind of experience driven differentiation and innovation. So, yes, while you do faster, but you also have to think of creating these unique
It's
experiences
partnership.
while you're doing faster. That
Hyper localization, I think, is just key, and you guys are doing that great. So I want to just interweave that, Ravi, in terms of your experience, because yes, many people have ideas, but execution, supply chain, distribution, all of that plays a very key role. So, how do you see it playing a role in a company like yours growing and scaling?
I think it's been a learning experience. When I started Wonderchef about 14 years ago, Amazon didn't exist. And then Amazon came and it came with books.
Yeah.
My biggest partner actually at that time was Network 18 Group through Home Shop 18, you know. And we were the number one brand on Home Shop 18 because it was Chef Sanjeev Kapoor, my partner
Yes.
and co-founder, who was doing the shows. So that brought credibility to not only Wonderchef, but the entire segment, the entire range of kitchen products on Home Shop 18. And people were amazed that the same product was being sold in thousands of quantities in every show. So I think the consumers learn very quickly as per the convenience. Home Shop 18, home delivery within 2-3 days was convenience at that time. Then came Amazon, first 2-3 days of delivery, then 1 day delivery, then 12 hours delivery. And then I'm proud to say that Wonderchef NutriBlend was the first durable which came on quick commerce, because quick commerce was invented to deliver groceries and FMCG. And nobody thought that, it can sell durables. But then we approached one of the quick com companies, one of the key ones which founded this concept. And we convinced them that, look, if you sell this NutriBlend worth 2,500, you make 500 rupees in your earning, in your margin, in your commission. Look at the unit economics. And when you sell potato or onion worth 1 kilo, you're losing money. So just imagine, and they couldn't fathom, because they said, nahi chalega kaise, dark store mein jagah ghir jayegi, it will not move that fast, it will be slow moving. But we said, okay, take time. Even if one piece sells in a week, you will still make money. And that's how durables came about. I'm happy to share that our quick commerce sales in this year have overtaken our sales on Amazon.
Wow.
And probably in 2 years' time, it will become our number one channel, beyond even bigger than general trade. So that is
Amazing.
the impact of
Absolutely.
distribution.
Absolutely, the impact of distribution. But, I find, Abhishek, that the more successful a brand becomes, the further away they go from the consumer centricity. Tell us a little bit more about your journey and the fact that through the years, you have maintained resilience and maintained that consumer centricity.
it's a great question, Avan, because being a 35-year young brand, that's what I always like to say. We've just seen so many cycles of growth and also so many cycles of sometimes failure, which make you
Of
wonder.
course.
When we began, we were completely focused on just doing simple documents and letters, almost a substitute for the Indian Post.
Yeah.
From there to move on to doing, transportation, cargo, logistics, e-commerce today, rapid commerce. I think in each of those cycles, there are few things that we learned very clearly. One, that before you think something is going to be important, your consumers are already giving you the buying signals.
Mm.
It's just that, do you have your ears on the ground? Are you listening enough to them, or are you just blindly, believing in what you think is the right product to sell? I think every time we heard our consumers more, we made those shifts and jumps, and that really helped us in a big way. That was one very important lesson and learning that we saw through that period. The other one is that fundamental belief that every time someone comes and tells you this is the end of the world, the markets are tanking, this product is not going to sell, you are a courier company, nobody's going to send letters anymore, people don't need this, it's not the end of the world. I think as founders, as entrepreneurs, and D2C brands are all built by passionate founders and entrepreneurs. I think my message to all of them would be, believe in your passion, believe in your resilience, and just count on it. Find ways. We are survivors. We
Yeah.
find a way to break through
And you innovate. Yeah.
exactly, and find a way to move past that barrier to the next level. We've done it, let's say, 7 or 8 times in a 35-year cycle, but there are brands like Wonderchef that are doing it as well every day. I think in what he just now shared,
Absolutely.
he's innovated as the demand has changed, and it's not going to be the end of his or my journey. We're just going to keep doing it more and
Yeah.
more.
Speaking of taking advantage of our demographic dividend, tell us about how you are catering to Gen Z. Is there a misconception about their preferences, their expectations, their experiences?
No, not at all. In fact, when I started the company, it's not too far back, right?
Mhm.
Um Cooking was a old person's sport,
Mm.
right? That okay, you have a couple of kids, you are in your late 30s, mid 40s, and then Wonderchef is a young brand because it will not be aligned to people who are probably 50 in their 50s or 60s, but people who are young, late 30s, early 40s. Today, it's no more the case. Today, we have to be relevant to a 28-year-old because 70% of the decisions, purchase decisions at homes, are being made by millennials. So the millennials who were like 15, 20 when we started the company are today getting married, they are setting up their homes, they're probably having their first kids, their first jobs. So they have become the buyers.
Yeah.
But their mindset is still the same, which it was when they were 15. It's not that they become old because they were the mobile generation,
Yes.
right? They were the WhatsApp generation, they were the Instagram generation. And then comes the Gen Z, which is a totally different ball game. So, as a brand, to be relevant, to be out there, to be growing faster than the others, we have to be relevant to the youth. And in Wonderchef, we are very conscious of that. So, if you check out, for example, our social media assets, because that's a Gen Z thing or a millennial thing, they outstrip even established larger competition by a factor of 10. We have 2 million social media followers, just the Meta followers, whereas the next brand, which may be the largest in our industry, will have less than 2 lakhs. So we are 10x of our next competitor. And that's because we decide to stay young. And thanks to that, we are able to launch new innovation, youthful products, because innovation is adopted first by the young. So we are conscious of that. We are conscious of our strength,
Right.
of our social media strength, and that's what we do.
If I may come to you, Abhishek, let's get in your take. Gen Z, what are we getting wrong? What are we getting right?
I think if you're getting wrong, it's because of our misconceptions, as he was pointing out. I think there's so much to get right about them. The fact
Yeah.
is, they are the ones who are going to be making the decisions. I think they are far more vocal. They're very clear about their thoughts, and they're expressing themselves better, which I think is a marketeer's dream. You know finally what your consumer really wants. They are the future, and therefore I think all brands need to invest on the products and services. More importantly, I would say the kind of talent you're building in your own organization needs to be driven, because the people creating the products must come from the same space for which the products are going to be sold. And I think that's the critical decision point I would add, along with almost all the other points that he mentioned. They are the ones who are going to make those decisions. All brands have a need to be youthful. There is no choice. There's nothing called an old brand anymore. If you are, you're getting extinct. Your days are numbered.
True.
That's my thoughts.
Okay, good to know. Gen Z is where it's at. Let's move on to the rapid fire round then. And Abhishek, if you could attribute one thing that led to DTDC's success, what would that be?
I think the fact that we are a very grassroots driven organization, we listen to people, partnership is very fundamental to the way we work.
Okay.
So which is why we just keep learning all the time.
What is it, design first or price first, Ravi, that matters the most according to the Indian
For
consumer?
for Wonderchef,
Yeah.
it has been designed first. For the Indian consumer, there are different levels. There's a large segment which is still price first,
Okay.
but you have to choose your core target group. And for us, it has been designed first.
Okay. Abhishek, if you had a delivery moment that changed the way you thought about consumers, one that really sticks.
I think one in which our delivery boys suggested to us the solution that, sir, there are many times I reach to doorsteps and I'm not able to identify who the real recipient is. But everyone has a digital phone. सर आप एक OTP के थ्रू अगर कुछ कर दोगे तो अगर किसी का बेटा बेटी या हस्बैंड वाइफ भी लेंगे पैकेज तो डिलीवर हो सकता है. What an aha moment that at that moment someone, so it's not some fancy idea that came from the top, it's the guy who does it at the doorstep who said, why don't you create this? And that was for me a very important delivery aha moment which made us realize, yeah, the world is changing and we've got to adapt to it.
I hope you got a raise. A Wonderchef product then that you think best represents Bharat.
So, Avan, when I say Bharat, I don't want to say Bharat, the poor Bharat lives in tier 2, tier 3. I think Abhishek established that they are also adopting. So, for me, Bharat is the soul of India. When we say Bharat, it's the real soul of India, which is expressing itself today. And I think I'm very proud of the chai maker that we have made, because the way we have chai is not like the English tea. We have kadha, which is age old, mixed with tea. हम उसमें अदरक, इलायची, long sab डालते हैं. That's the masala chai that we have. And our tea maker enables that at touch of a button. So I think that's one product that is connecting with Bharat.
Chalo, cheers to that then. Great conversation. Thank you so very much. I think this must be a full circle moment, the fact that you are here again. And Abhishek, as always, gleaning great insights from you. So thank you for that. Today's conversation shows us that in India's consumer and home solutions industry, sustainable growth comes from respecting how real households live, building with financial discipline, and scaling without losing human instinct. Thank you for watching Forbes India and DTDC present Behind India's D2C Revolution. Stay tuned for more conversations with the leaders building, scaling, and redefining how India consumes.
Forbes and DTDC. Behind India's D2C revolution.